Welcome to the Late Night Race Review. On this week's episode, we take a look at George Russell's first win in Formula One, Mercedes with their first 1-2 since Monza 2020. Max shows his ruthless streak and leaves Perez with it all to do in Abu Dhabi. Ferrari are left in recovery mode yet again, and K-Mag surprises everyone with his epic pole. Will Dave tie up the predictions game, or is there a late surge by Scotty or Isidro? Don't forget to support the podcast by hitting those like, follow and subscribe buttons. Welcome back to the Late Night Race Review for the Brazil GP. I'm Eoin Scott, and with me as always is Dave Jericho and Isidro Salvage. We'll get straight into it, lads. Dave, first of all, what did you make of this weekend?
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Interlagos never fails to deliver. I absolutely love this track. We've got a lot to cover today. We really do.
Isidro, what were your thoughts on the weekend?
It was a great weekend, a great sprint race, and today we were offered an excellent race.
Definitely
especially
a step up from Mexico.
Oh, definitely. There's no comparison
there. Dave, I guess we'll start off with our race winner, George Russell, with his first ever win in F1 today. What did you think of George this weekend?
Gee, he had it under control. The Mercedes just had so much power this weekend. They were unbelievable. But yeah, Russell, that race today, he really just controlled it. There was no one was catching him, even towards the end. Like you could see Lewis wasn't even able to catch him towards the end. Just had a great start from the get-go. Gained, I think at one point he was like 8 seconds, I think, away from Lewis, and just controlled the race, looked after the tires, professional. I don't know what is going to be better for a driver, whether he wins it. I think a win is a win. Your first race win is a first race win, but I don't know whether it's if you've battled hard for it or if you've just dominated. And in this case, he just dominated his first race win. So yeah, congratulations to George Russell.
It's great to see Mercedes back in the hunt like that, and it gives you great hope for next season. Seeing it where Red Bull finished today and where Ferrari finished, and just seeing where Mercedes are does give you great hope. And
it gives me great. No, wait, before we go on, it gives me great hope for Abu Dhabi as well.
Oh yes, indeed.
Because if the Mercedes can carry that sort of performance into Abu Dhabi, after that little ignition there from Max Verstappen colliding with, or Lewis, whichever way you look at the race incident there, but the clash between the two of them, if those two lads have similar power going into Abu Dhabi, I know we could see something exciting happen.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? Mercedes' first 1-2 finish since Monza 2020. Isidro, did you see this coming? Where did Mercedes' pace come from today?
Well, it took them 21 rounds to finally figure out how to tune up the Mercedes, but they finally got there.
Look at you, Isidro. Always ready to put the little guy down.
The little guy.
We spent all season trying to build up Mercedes, and when they finally win a race, Isidro's there with the big Portuguese hand of doom to put them back down again. Not this year.
No, they took a lot of time to figure out stuff. But they did an excellent race today, and like you're saying, if they do the same for Abu Dhabi, then we'll have another great race in our hands, and no need for Latifi to spice things up.
Well, it's his last race. He's got to do something.
Yeah, it'll be spectacular. I can't wait to see what Latifi does. I will remind you both that Dave did call this very early on in the season. Dave was on the Mercedes hype train. And I poo-pooed it very, very quickly, and just race after race, he kept with it, and you called it early, Dave. You saw it coming.
Yeah, I know. Like, there was no way these guys weren't going to get an understanding of the car. And I know, I can't think, there was a post-race interview there today, and they were sort of saying that they had written off the season because they knew that there was no title challenge as an option for them. So it was sort of a learning experience this season. So even, the brain power that's behind that team in Mercedes, it was inevitable they were going to get on top of this. And they're so organized and structured. It's not like, I'm sorry to say it, but it's not like Ferrari where it's just like a fart in a bath, like it's just all over the show. They're just, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like,
no, explain how a fart in a bath is disorganized, please.
Well, I don't think we have to go through the scientific explanation of that one. But look, it was inevitable they were going to get a race win. So yeah, I saw it coming all season. There was promise, and I can't recall kind of exact races, but we could see it kind of growing as the season went on, that they were getting an understanding of this car. So yeah, I'm delighted it's happened. I'm not a Mercedes fan, but I'm just, it's just great to see another team coming back in there to challenge, and have 3 teams there in the mixer for hopefully for next season, or at least if anything for Abu Dhabi next week.
And possibly with some penalties, with the wind tunnel penalties on Red Bull as well, maybe some cost cap issues also could bring them a little bit closer again to Mercedes and Ferrari.
I don't even think they'll need that. I think even without that penalty that was applied to Red Bull, I think Mercedes have an understanding already of what they're doing for next season.
Yeah.
So I don't think that would be much of a factor, but it certainly won't hurt their chances. But I do hope for us as fans, I hope it doesn't impact. I suppose it's a bad thing to say, because I mean it needs to impact them if the penalty is going to be effective. But for us as spectators, I hope it doesn't impact them too much, because I would like to see Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari all in the mixer together, like we kind of thought we were going to get this year. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier on when you were talking about Abu Dhabi there, you mentioned Lewis Verstappen. Will you get into that incident it was lap 7 coming into turn 2? Who was at fault? Because I've heard differing opinions. I have my own opinion, but first of all, Dave, give me your opinion.
Oh, we're going with me again. Sorry,
yeah,
Isidro. You're on the bench today, Isidro. I could sit on the fence on this one. I could argue both sides. I could argue that Lewis didn't give Max enough room and squeezed him a bit. I think Max was alongside him, and at that point, you're supposed to give a car's width. But I could also argue that perhaps the room was never going to be there for Max, and he should have backed out. So I know that's not an answer anyone's going to, because that's a real political sitting on the fence answer, but I could argue both sides. I suppose if I was forced to make a decision of where I see the blame lie, I know the penalty went to Max Verstappen, but I think I probably would have laid the blame more towards Lewis Hamilton. Again, at a push. I think there was 50-50 there, but I think I would maybe have said that Lewis should have been maybe given a little bit more room, given that Max was over sort of 50% of his car length alongside him.
Yeah,
that would be my thought on it.
Isidro, where are you?
But it spiced things up.
Put the cat among the pigeons.
Yeah,
I would go with Max's fault on this one. I think
Right.
he was a bit too aggressive. He knew there was no space there, and he knows that Lewis would not say, "Oh, please, by all means, pass here." No. Max was just a bit too aggressive, and he paid the price. Not very high price, just a penalty, but still. I think Max should just take it easy. You're already champion, so why ruin the race for 2 drivers?
I think it was Lewis Hamilton that was in front of him, I think was the reason.
Yes.
I think whether he won the world championship, whether he was trying to win the world championship, I think that made no difference. I think the blinders were on. He saw Lewis Hamilton, saw red, I'm going for it. And that was the end of it.
I think that the thing that we love about Max is that once he's on a racetrack, nothing else matters. He just wants to win regardless.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so go on, Scotty, what's your take on it then?
I would lay the blame at Lewis's feet. I just don't think there was enough room there. He was alongside him, and I think he squeezed him. I think he knew what he was doing as well.
I agree, because sorry, go on.
No. At worst, I would have put it down to a racing incident and let both of them off with it.
Yeah, I think the reason I would lean towards Lewis is that they came out of turn 1, and it was clear, like Lewis would have known that he was there alongside him. So as they were going down to turn 2, like he's not stupid. He knows that Max Verstappen was going to be there. So I think he should have given a little bit more room for, again, as the rules would state, to give a car's width if the car is alongside you. And he didn't. So, yeah, I think it was harsh. Like I said, I could argue both sides. Like I said, it's a terrible answer to give, but I could argue both sides. So I do think giving Verstappen a 5-second penalty, I think was bad form. Like you said, yeah, I would agree with you, Scotty. Racing, I put it down to a racing incident and just let him go, or give them both a 5-second penalty for over aggressive driving or something like that. But I don't think it was very harsh to pick one over the other out of that one. I think. Well, yeah, not according to Isidro. With his Mercedes hand of doom.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he got his just desserts in the end, according to Isidro anyway. But still managed to stay ahead of Perez on the track. Should we jump into that? No, we'll come back to that later. Let's move on to our Ferraris this weekend, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. I'm going to start with Isidro now. What did you think of the Ferraris this weekend?
It was a great weekend for Ferraris. About time. Especially for Sainz. He had a few bad luck in the past few races, but today he was on top of it. And even Leclerc, after hitting the barriers, he was made to recover and get the P4. So overall, it was very good for Ferraris.
Dave?
Sorry, Isidro, I had to pick my jaw up off the ground. You thought it was a good weekend for Ferrari? I thought it was I thought it was just another one of Ferrari's fumbles. Like, yeah, Leclerc did a good recovery drive. Again, I think maybe the safety cars and stuff like that landed in their favor, but it started with the qualifying and everything, that they just absolutely made a mess the qualifying. Then Carlos Sainz obviously had to take an engine penalty then, or it took a new combustion engine. So it took a 5 grid place penalty, I think.
P7 he started, yeah.
Yeah, then there was the incidents with Leclerc and Norris. Then there was, Leclerc went out, or not went out, but sorry, went off track, ended up at the back, had to do a recovery drive. Like, it was the best they could have hoped for. But I don't know. Sorry, Isidro, I don't agree with you. I don't think it was a good weekend for them. It was just a recovery weekend. But it just seems every weekend is a recovery weekend for Ferrari at the moment.
Well, they both finished the race. They both had 4 tires waiting for them at the pit stop every time they went there. I mean, I see improvement there. So
this is the measure of Ferrari now, is that they have 4 tires waiting for them when they go in for a pit stop. It's sad. But I'll bring you on to the Lando incident with Leclerc. What do you think here? Was this a racing incident, or was Lando, did he take his eye off the ball there?
Oh, sorry, me, is it?
Yeah, I'll go with you.
Oh, that was definitely Lando's fault. You could see he understeered when he went into that corner. Was that turn 10 or something like that? I can't quite remember what turn that was on. But he understeered, and you could see the car just had no grip and sort of slid into Leclerc. So yeah, that was I think that the penalty was kind of just for Lando on that one.
Yeah, and was there any connection between that crash and then Lando's eventual, was it electronics or hydraulics failure?
It was an electrical issue, but I would be surprised. I don't think there was that much of an impact between him and, well, actually, no, no, I don't think that would be the reason for he retired. But after the incident with Leclerc, he did come on the radio a number of times complaining about was it the front left when he was making right-hand turns?
Yeah, it was steering anyway, for sure.
Yeah, he was saying, yeah, exactly. He was saying there was some issue there. So the car maybe necessarily wasn't perfect afterwards, but I don't think maybe that would have led to the electrical issue. So no.
And Leclerc's response to being hit was, "That guy's a dick." I think was what he said about Lando.
You got to go easy on Lando. He's
his birthday.
It's his birthday. He's just finished absolutely pebble dashing the toilet for the week, and he's had a rough time of it.
Poor Lando. He looked dejected sitting down at the side of the track there when he went off.
I'd say he was just thinking, why did I bother turning up this weekend? I should have stayed at the hotel and recovered.
Isidro, go on.
I think Lando was trying the Daniel theory. If you take a guy out on the race and you get 10 seconds, you finish high on the grid. I think he was trying that. but
Well,
he is not experienced as Daniel. So
no, at
it worked out
finishing
it well.
that far back or crashing.
And Daniel didn't do himself any favors to try and recreate that magic.
Oh, horrible! Absolutely
That was-
horrible.
That
Will we
was
touch?
karma.
You want to touch on that there now? The Ricardo incident.
Yeah, why not? And then we can, we'll
Now
talk
that we're
about
here.
Let's talk about McLaren, and we'll talk about Haas as well while we're there, because it's all kind of mixed together. And then
Let's do that.
we'll
come back to the
Red
Ferraris.
Bull. Yeah.
Okay, give me your thoughts on the Danny Ricciardo tip of K-Mag.
I have nothing to say on the matter.
Right,
So-
back to Ferrari.
Back to Ferrari. It was heartbreaking, wasn't it?
It was.
I mean, it was a racing incident. I don't think there's I mean, I know they were talking about it being investigated after the race, but I don't think I haven't heard anything coming from it, and I don't think anything will come of it. It was just a racing incident, but heartbreaking for K-Mag. But almost I felt more bad for Daniel Ricciardo, because I mean, listen, Magnussen was, what was he, P8 or something, P9, I think he dropped back to, I can't quite recall. He dropped back anyway. Like, it wasn't like he was in pole, in P1 and Ricciardo wiped him out. He was back down the middle of the pack. I felt more bad for Ricciardo because he's just come off the back of a good result, good race, and now he's coming to the end of sort of his stint with McLaren. He's going to be obviously missing for 2023. He wants to show that he's still got something there if he's any chance coming back in 2024. And what does he do? He takes out, not only does he take out someone and then himself, he takes out K-Mag, who's sort of now the golden boy of Formula One this weekend after setting that pole position. And of all people to wipe out, that's who he went for. So it's a racing incident, but yeah, I felt bad for them.
What do you think, Isidro?
I have to disagree with Dave. I think it's karma what happened to Daniel after what he did to Tsunoda, and they tried to do the same with Kevin Magnussen, and now he paid the price. There's no 10 seconds penalty this time for him. It's just out of race. A shame for Kevin though. He was on P8, sat on P8, and would probably finish P10 maybe if it was for that move from Daniel Ricciardo. So
we were all extremely excited to see K-Mag up there yesterday. Circumstances were obviously in his favor, but Dave, was he ever going to hold anything higher than P8, do you think, on race day?
On the sprint race, I have to say, I thought he was going to come back. I was kind of thinking around P6. I thought he might have been able to hold on to. I thought kind of that car should have had enough pace on the soft tires over 21 laps of being able to just go full, flat out. I thought he might have held P6, but obviously that wasn't to be. But for race day starting P8, I mean, that's not the end of the world. Well, it was, because Daniel Ricciardo took him out. So had he placed anywhere else, he may not have had that issue.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think he's had a great weekend. I'd be honest, I don't think that's going to phase him at all. I mean, the fact that he went out in the Grand Prix, I think his takeaway this weekend will be, I got pole position. And yes, the circumstances of how he got pole position, but at the end of the day, the team put him out on track at the right time. Anyone else could have put their car out on track at the same time, or if not before him, and they didn't. So as a team effort, they got him pole position. He got pole position. So, brilliant.
Let's go back, as you were mentioning Ferrari there. Let's go back to Leclerc. And he wanted Sainz to give up third coming into I think it was the last lap there. He was talking on the radio, asking the team to think about points. What are our opinions? Isidro, I'll start with you. What do you think about this?
I think the Ferrari was correct to say no. I mean, Sainz raced very well to get to P3, and Leclerc wanting that just for more points. I mean, you can do better in Abu Dhabi if you want. I think it's correct, the decision of Ferrari. No, if you wanted the P3, you should have fight for it more, and not just have Sainz to drop, just so Leclerc can be pleased at the end of the day. For Ferrari, it's the same. They got the same points.
It's a little bit different asking someone to give up a podium as it is maybe giving up a fourth or a fifth. Dave, what do you think?
Oh, yeah, I agree with Isidro. Yeah, it's absolutely. you're going for a podium, you're going for a trophy. It's it's going to be in the record books. It's going to be on your career record of podium finishes. You're not going to give that up just because some guy's fighting for second in the championship. I think had he been fighting for first, if this was going for a title, I think probably Sainz would have maybe willingly have given it up at that point, but not for second. Not a chance.
No. And speaking of Sainz, then we had the issue with the tearaway and the rear right. I think it was smoking rear right. What was the resolution there actually?
Just cleared it out, and but I did look like they were going to have issues with it because as he came out, that right rear brake was still smoking for a good lap or two afterwards. It was still smoke coming out. So thankfully, it kind of either whatever was left on it burnt off, and the brake started to cool down. So yeah, he got lucky there, and then like I said, got a good strong finish then for P3.
And there was a conversation. Martin Brundle was saying that there used to be a case for when the tearaway was being pulled away, instead of throwing it out, there was a little pocket just down at the side of the car that they used to put the tearaways in. Yeah. And possibly there should be a conversation again about maybe bringing that back. What do you think?
I think that conversation has been coming up for a few years now because there's been a number of instances where the tearaways have been going into brake ducts and causing issues. So I don't really see it being a big issue. I mean, put a little, just like that, a little kind of slip on the inside of the cockpit that you can easily just put, probably just to the right of the steering wheel that you can easily just slot the tearaway slip into. Because you can't just, it's like Mario Kart just firing it out and you're kind of thinking, I've got like 20 of these on my visor. I'm just going to start tearing them off and firing them behind me. Like, like
you can see it starting to be used as a tactic, can't you?
Exactly. Like,
the leader of the race. Okay. Let's move on. We've stuck on Ferrari for a while there. Red Bull, another case of team orders. This is a big one. I don't, who wants to start with this one? Oh Jesus! Silence.
I think it was a deep move from Max. Max already the champion. This 8 points doesn't help in anything, but it could help Perez to get the second place. So it was a dick move from Max to do that.
Yeah. I've two opinions on this. So the opinion on the incident itself is, it was a dick move. He's he's won the world championship. I mean, it's not going to, I don't know, has he set the record for points scored in a season yet?
I think that was done last week. Was it?
I think he's already done that as well. So it's not like he's going for a record here. There's absolutely no justification. The talk is that the reason behind it was that there was possibly some sort of gripe hanging around since Monaco, with what happened with Perez. Verstappen seemed to think that Perez tactically crashed his car in Monaco, which I don't think that's what happened at all. So dick move that he didn't hand it over, especially how much I think Perez helped him last season. I think it was in Abu Dhabi when he did that absolutely stellar drive to hold up Lewis Hamilton, and bring Max back into play. So for him to go and do that and leave his teammate on equal points and disobey the team, that's throwing your weight around a little too much. And I think he's gonna get at least he should get a bollocking, because I don't think it's like a footballer, that whole kind of footballer thinks he's bigger than the club type thing.
Yeah.
Regardless of what Verstappen has done or is doing and how good he is, he can't ever think that he's bigger than the Red Bull team. He has to be a team player. And I think that Christian Horner needs to sort of give him a bit of a reality check there, that when we tell you to do something, it's for the good of the team and you do it, especially in this circumstances. Now, so what I do like about it though is that uh, the, we're in a sort of a generation of everybody's friends. Everybody, everyone's afraid to offend, everyone's afraid to do something that might upset someone else, and we're in that kind of, and don't get me wrong, it's a very likable grid that we have. I don't think I've any much of complaints of anybody.
No.
So it's nice to see a driver as ruthless. I mean, that was as ruthless as it gets in Formula One. And it's nice to see. Now, like I said, still a dick move, not backing that up, but it's nice to see that a driver is willing to just be like, I don't give a shit. I am racing for myself and myself alone. So it's kind of nice to see that that attitude there. Regardless of what it does with him and his teammates, it's nice to see that a driver is willing to go against the grain and not try and be trying to be friends with everybody is what I'm getting at, I suppose. It's nice to see the aggression there.
Yeah, but Max Verstappen has had a few teammates over the last few years. The teammates have come and gone. Max Verstappen is still there, and he's now two-time world champion. I know you say, okay, there's, we should play for the team and no one's bigger than the team, but is he bigger than the team?
No.
At this current point?
No. I mean, look at it this way. I think there's a pool of Red Bull have a car, I think, that will be. I think there's other drivers they could put. Oh, okay, look, hang on a second. Let me start this again, because I was going on a road there. I was gonna paint myself into a corner.
Yeah, I can see it happening.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to catch myself there. He is possibly he is the best driver, I think, on the grid at the moment, and I put him ahead of Lewis Hamilton only purely because Lewis Hamilton is on the downward side of his career.
Yeah.
And I think he has a lot to still do to be up there with Lewis Hamilton, but just at this moment in time of drivers on the grid. So he is the best out there at the moment. That being said, Red Bull have a good history at the moment of bringing through good drivers. Obviously, it's Sebastian Vettel. Daniel Ricciardo was good when he was at Red Bull. Mark Webber was half decent as well. Like, they have good, and they have a good academy, and they've good drivers in the waiting in the wings there as well. So now, again, none of them are going to replace Max Verstappen. So there is a bit of a balancing order here. But you cannot allow, like, okay, you might have the conversation once that, or you might say, look, he's done it this once. They're having a bit of a Barney, him and Perez at the moment. This is not a regular occurrence. However, if this does become a regular occurrence, then you've got an issue, and you really have to get on top of it, because if you end up in a situation where they start taking each other out on track because they're getting over aggressive, then it becomes costly for the team, not just from a title winning chance, but also financially. It becomes costly when you start crashing all the time. So yeah, he's not bigger than the team, but he's definitely in a position of power because of how good of a driver he is. So they have an issue. They've a problem there. They have to find a balance and find out and sort out that issue between Perez and Verstappen quick before next season comes around.
Yeah, you'd imagine a team the size of Red Bull will be straight in there now and sorting that out even before next week. There'll be words throughout the week now.
I would imagine straight after the race. I imagine they're doing their debrief now, and they're trying to sort this out and trying to find a way, a resolution here as to how they can solve this between the two. Because whatever, going to Abu Dhabi, like, whatever's the issue, but coming into next season, like, they want to go for another title. Excuse me. So they gotta sort it out quick.
Speaking of tension and things to be sorted out, let's move on to Alpine. Quite a weekend these boys had. The boxing gloves were on or off, as the case may be, throughout the weekend. What was your thoughts? I'll start with you, Isidro. What are your thoughts on Ocon versus Alonso? Ding ding.
I think that Alonso, since he's going away, he doesn't really care about the team spirit or anything like that. He just there's one more race left, and then I can leave these guys behind, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's just Alonso being Alonso.
Great to see, I think. Dave, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder, is Ocon a difficult teammate to have? Aren't there? There's a bit of concerns about the long-standing grudge between Gasly and Ocon from their karting days and their sort of early career days, which apparently sort of has brought the families into it. There's actually like a sort of a family rivalry going on here or something like that, that the families got involved and stuff. I did see a story or an article where Alpine had made mention that sort of certain family members or something like that were only allowed at the track on sort of alternating race weekends or something like that, so as to not have them all on the track together. Look, it was from reputable sources, but where that's true or not, but I believe there is that they've tried to bury the hatchet, I think, between the two of them. But so I don't know. I would imagine maybe Ocon is just maybe his bit of a Max Verstappen in the sense that, you know, he will do everything to win. He's there for himself. He's not there to play second fiddle to anybody. So could be spicy next year with Gasly there. I'm looking forward to that. So yeah. So when I saw what was going on with Alonso and Ocon, I think it's doesn't seem like it's come out of the blue. It sounds like this is something that's to be expected.
A bit of back and forth on the track with was it Ocon? Did Ocon take it Alonso first, and then Alonso clipped the rear of Alonso
in the sprint race?
In the sprint race, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And that led to the comments then that Alonso said post race interview. But before, like, let's because we've been going on about kind of rivalries and stuff like that. Let's talk about let's talk about the fact that Ocon went from P16 to P8, and Alonso went from P17 to P5, and neither of them got driver of the day. Tell me what's going on.
The conspiracies, Dave. Is there a conspiracy here, a pro Hamilton conspiracy in Brazil? Is that what we're looking at?
I suppose, like, when we started, before we jumped on the podcast, obviously I thought it was a Sky Run driver of the day vote when Hamilton won driver of the day. Yep. So I thought, okay, you got British fans and you've got Sky. You know, it was inevitable that it was going to be Lewis Hamilton or George Russell. But the fact that it's a global vote, I didn't realize it was actually goes off the F1.com website. The fact it's global. I don't understand how Hamilton got driver of the day, like over George Russell, Fernando Alonso, or Esteban Ocon. What?
I think some part of it could be to do with visibility. Hamilton was very much involved in a lot of the coverage, I think, today, whereas the two guys not as much.
True, yeah, and I suppose, you know, the people are only voting based off what they're seeing on the TV coverage. So yeah, maybe, but don't get me wrong, Lewis Hamilton had an absolute incredible day today. But I think George Russell dominated that race. I mean, he controlled that race from start to finish. How did he not get driver of the day? And like I said, Alonso coming from P17 to finish 5th. Like, what the hell? Anyway,
Isidro, what do you think? Is there any conspiracy going on here, or should we nip that one in the bud?
No, I'll stick with the conspiracy. Like they were saying, Alonso, he fought 12 positions. Lewis Hamilton, he started second, finished second. I mean, he did a good, solid race, but he didn't do anything special. It was just a ordinary weekend for him. While Alonso or Ocon, they just fight their way up to the points.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's I don't know how that vote. The fact that it's a global vote, I'm stumped how that happened. Yeah. I'm delighted that, like I said, I love the fact that the Mercedes got the 1-2, and like I said, Hamilton had an absolute cracking race to finish P2. But
just a quick numbers here. Lewis Hamilton got 17.1% of the votes, and Alonso got 16% of the votes.
Oh, here. Do you think Crofty put in all those extra votes to bring up the percentage?
Yeah. Right.
Ted Kravitz was there with his script for him, and Brad Pitt were putting in the votes. Sorry, okay, go on.
Would you like to know, we've had an interesting week over on our YouTube. There's been a lot of comments in on a certain video to do with the Ted Kravitz Max Verstappen I'm not going to use the word feud again because we've used it too much throughout this
Yeah,
this
yeah.
podcast today.
The boycott. The boycott.
The boycott, yeah.
Yeah.
Which has that ended now? That boycott, because I've seen Max talking to Sky this
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah. They officially ended it for Brazil,
Right.
which look, fair enough. Like I get what they were doing, but I was like we got a lot of feedback on that video, and I would say a good 85%, I'd say 90% of the people do feel that the Sky's coverage is very biased and very much heavily leaning towards Lewis Hamilton and sort of the British drivers. And do you know, I paid more attention. Like, yeah, I agree to that on certain race weekends. I do find that they do cover and talk about Lewis Hamilton quite a lot, even when Lewis Hamilton isn't even in the running. But yeah, I paid attention to it today, and I was kind of the coverage. It did favor Lewis a bit. Although, having said that, Martin Brundle was laying the blame of the Max incident at Hamilton's feet as well. So maybe he's trying to get get some favor back with the social social media people.
Yeah.
But no, it's gotta be like, look, we move on. Like, you know, it's a bit of fun, it's a bit of a laugh, but if you take it too seriously, like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Right, before we finish up today, then let's have a quick little look coming into Abu Dhabi at the two notable things: the constructors' fight, which has Merc and Ferrari clearly pitted against each other, and then we'll have a quick little look at the Perez Leclerc situation. So Merc sitting on, where are they? 505 points. Ferrari sitting on 524. So 19 points in the difference. Dave, kick us off. Where do you see this going?
I hope. I'm a Ferrari fan, but like I said, sometimes you got to see the world burn to build it up again. And I want to see Mercedes overtake Ferrari just so they don't get away with how bad they've been this week or this season.
Yeah.
I want them to realize that a car at the start of the season, everyone cast their mind back to the start of the season where we had races where Lewis Hamilton wasn't even getting out of Q3.
Yeah.
Out of Q1. Sorry, he wasn't even getting out of Q1 in qualifying, to now winning a race. But you've had a car that's been struggling that whole season, yet they're only 19 points behind you. And Ferrari have a car that should have been fair, like we all thought was going to be a title winner this season. Yeah. So I don't want them to finish second to feel that they've sort of got away with it. I want that. Like, I think they need to have that smack in the face of and kind of say, yeah, you've finished third to a team that struggled really hard this season. So yeah, bring on Mercedes. That's Abu Dhabi is what I say.
Now, if this does happen and Ferrari do finish behind Mercedes, Isidro, will heads roll at Ferrari, and whose head should roll at Ferrari?
Oh, I think I have to agree with Dave. I see Mercedes going for the second and Ferrari third, especially because I see Max Verstappen redeem himself and just crash into Leclerc in Abu Dhabi. So Perez has a good race and get all the points, and Ferrari finish third and Mercedes finish second, and everyone is happy. That's how I see it.
I don't think they'll change the team though. I think the team will stay the same come 2023.
No, it's a solid team. They should whatever they've been doing up to now. They should keep everything as it is.
Oh no, sorry, I mean Ferrari. I'm just saying, I don't think Ferrari will change anything going into 2023. I think the personnel will stay the same. I don't think they'll change the strategists. I don't think they'll change, like Binotto. I don't think will go anywhere. I think he'll be there in 2023. Right. I think all the personnel will be the same, bar sort of a few peripheral staff kind of changes. But I don't see any major overhaul happening going into next season.
That was what I was angling towards. Do you think Binotto will still be there?
Yeah, no. Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry, I do. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. He will still be heading the Clown College this time.
He will
year.
be, yeah.
Good. Teams are the same, except the interns at Ferrari. I think they are gone now.
Yeah.
Really? Okay, well, let's again, Ferrari are involved in this, but Perez versus Leclerc, we've touched on it a few times today. Will they be directly lined up against each other, or do you think will they even be near each other on the grid come race day?
I'm calling Leclerc to finish ahead of Perez.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Leclerc will take second in the championship.
Where's that coming from? He hasn't been performing fantastically in the last few races, has he?
Yeah, I think the today I saw that Red Bull struggled. Could have been the track, could have been the altitude, could have been a whole number of things, but it didn't have the pace. I think had Leclerc not have had that incident with Lando Norris, I think he would have probably been in third place. I think he was going to be faster than Sainz. So I think Verstappen will probably be quicker, but I do think Leclerc. I think Verstappen in that Red Bull is quicker than Perez in that Red Bull. Sure. But I think, I think Leclerc will finish ahead of Perez. I just don't think he'll have the pace in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, Isidro on the same page.
I'm not sure. I think the Perez still has some fight left, and I think he wants that second place. And while I was joking about Max taking out, I don't think it'll be that bad, but I think Max will definitely help Perez to get the second. And two Red Bulls are definitely faster than the Ferraris.
So you're going Perez to take second in the championship?
Yeah.
Are we putting? Is there a wager going on this? Anyone?
Well, yeah. I suppose we could do an extra little one aside from the predictions games, which we'll get into now in a second. But so you're going.
I'm going Leclerc.
Perez, you're going Leclerc.
I'm going Leclerc to take the second place, and Isidro's going with Perez. Who are you going with, Scotty?
Oh, I have to decide. I thought I was just going to be the referee.
Oh, you can be the referee, but if you want to throw your hat in the ring and give a prediction.
Yeah, I think probably Perez. Yeah, I'm gonna side with Isidro on this, but the bet is €100 between you and Isidro.
yeah, exactly.
All right, let's put a bow on this thing and get stuck into the predictions, Dave.
All right. Yeah, look, let me take the reins here and get us underway in the predictions because things are hotting up here. All right, so we have, and let me open this up here. Right, the table is. I have it sewn up. It's like I'm cruising. So me on 9 points and yourself, Eoin, and Isidro joint on 7th in last place. All right. Let's scroll down to today's race. Right. I had Verstappen to finish first. That did not happen. I had Perez second. Also did not happen. But I had Sainz to finish third. So that gives me 1 point. Scotty, who did you have?
I don't have the predictions open. Hold on.
Oh, Jesus.
I do know it's here. So I had Verstappen in first, which did not happen. I had Hamilton in second, which did happen.
Yeah.
And I had Sergio Perez in third, which did also not happen. So I got 1 point for my 3. We're equal so far.
Oh, and Isidro.
No, I got Hamilton first. Didn't happen either. Verstappen second, another 0, and Russell third. So
goose eggs all around. All right. I had my flop. Both McLarens outside the top 10.
That was a weak call.
No.
I know where you're going with this. This is not happening.
Now, outside the top 10 means outside of the top 10. I don't really think it means DNF.
Are they inside the top 10?
They are not.
So, where are they?
They're neither inside or outside the top 10. They didn't finish at all.
Yeah. So they're not inside the top 10.
Which means
so they're outside the top 10.
By proxy, you're saying that they would be outside of the top 10, but they're not.
Are you in your house at the moment?
No, I'm not going to tell you where I am because then you'll come for me.
No. You're not in your house. So you're outside your house.
I'm not inside my house though.
All right, I'm gonna have to let yourself and Isidro decide on this one, but I think there's gonna be a riot if I'm not given the point on this one.
What do you think, Isidro? I just want to piss him off, really. But I mean, it's up to you.
Usually we call out if it's DNF or just outside top 10.
So you're telling me I'm not getting it?
No.
Oh, I was just doing it for fun, but he was serious.
That is absolutely vicious. That's like Verstappen not giving the place back to Perez.
I love it. A vicious podcaster, Isidro.
That's ruthless. That's like they're outside the top 10, whether they DNF'd or not. They're not inside the top 10. That is shocking.
It's a technicality. It really is.
I've given stuff in the past on technicalities in favor of you guys. And now when it comes, it's like Perez, like he does all the work in Abu Dhabi last season,
if
helps out the team.
No, I'm just following the rules. If you see the results,
there is no rules here.
We've made them up as we go along.
Made them up,
Norris,
and we're doing it again.
Daniel Ricciardo NC, Yuki Tsunoda finished 17, and that's the last place for the race results today.
That's what I would say too.
So we are just following the rules, Dave. Sorry.
Wow.
That rule has never come up. You've just made that literally. People listening to this podcast have just heard you make that rule up on the spot. We've never had that rule all season.
I would tend to agree with Isidro. I'm sorry, Dave.
All right, well, fuck you both. Let's move on.
Okay, my flop was,
and it's not because it's just 1 point difference between all of us.
Yeah, that's not.
I don't care. I'm still winning this season, so let's go.
I know he is. My flop for this week was Bottas engine DNF. I was pretty clear about that, and that didn't happen, did it? No, he finished quite well, actually.
No, yeah, 0.
He finished top 10.
He was in the top 10, yeah. Right, go on.
Isidro.
I got Ocon outside top 10 as a flop.
Yeah, big 0 for you.
Right, Dave, go on. What was your surprise today?
Yeah,
Shine, Dave. Shine.
Bottas. Inside the top 10, not with an engine DNF, not outside the top 10, inside the top 10.
Cool. So you called it right and you got a point. That's the rules, I think, isn't it? Really, just call it precisely where it is. I think that is
the rules. Yeah, and I got it. 1 point for me.
All right. I said he still wins. By the way, I said K-Mag inside the top 10, and it was no, didn't happen. Thanks, Danny Rick.
Yep.
Dick.
I think if Danny Rick didn't take him out, he still wasn't finishing inside the top 10.
No, he wasn't. No. Right.
And Isidro.
I had Yuki Tsunoda top 10.
Actually, where did Tsunoda finish? Oh,
he was 17.
17th. Yeah. Well,
that didn't happen either. Jesus, Isidro, that was bad for you this week. Dave, it didn't matter that we.
It's the principle of things that I know that you guys don't have my back. When all season, when there's been technicalities, I backed you up and kind of went, yeah, look, we'll give it to you. Except when Isidro tried to hedge his bets on 2 teams.
Yeah, that was messed up.
So I win this week. That now means that I am on 10 points and you both are on 7. And I am the first year's Late Night Race Review predictions champion. Let's get the Dave. Internet lose your shit. Pants down celebrations.
How do you feel, Dave? How do you feel?
I feel amazing. I won't quite go George Russell's Oscar-winning speech that he did today, but I do feel amazing. Yeah. And the fact that I have secured that victory on the back of what I can only say, hurtful tactics from both of you.
Tactics.
that wrote off my McLaren decision for both of them outside the top 10. The one time they finish outside, they both didn't finish or finish inside the top 10.
It's beautiful.
That is a great way of winning the championship, to stick it to both of you.
Yeah, a fitting win, and winning it before the end of the season as well in true Max Verstappen style. Well done, man.
Absolutely delighted.
Good job.
But we are not finished yet, so we still have to wrap it up. There's still second place to decide here, like there is between Leclerc and Perez. So because I can do whatever the fuck I want. I can have Ronald McDonald's coming first if I wanted. So I am going gravy train, and I'm going with Lewis Hamilton.
Nice.
And second, George Russell. Fucking going right in at this one, leaning into it. And then P3 is going to be our P2 driver title winner is Charles Leclerc.
Oh, I knew that's where you were going with it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we are, as always, we are of a similar mind, but not quite the same. I'm going to say P1 Russell, P2 Lewis, and I'm going to go for P3, my choice for second position, Sergio Perez.
Alrighty.
Yep.
Jesus, we're leaning into the Mercedes. All right.
And with it, the pace is just
It was good.
there.
Yeah,
It's
it was
there.
good. All right, Isidro.
Hamilton first.
Oh, well, it's different to Scotty anyway.
We're playing for second place here, Cedro.
George
Yeah.
Russell second,
Oh my God, we're all leaning into the
Wow.
Mercedes.
and Sergio Perez third.
Oh,
Sweet Jesus.
right. So the 1-2 needs to be different for me and you to be going head head. I like it. I like it. Dave, are we going flop or surprise? Flop?
Flop. Yeah.
Okay. Flippity flop.
Oh, you're gonna love this one. Max Verstappen,
Oh, I know why you're going for that as well.
DNF.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's crashing out.
Yeah. I can see why. Is it anything to do with what Isidro mentioned earlier on?
What did Isidro mention earlier on?
He said that Max was going to take Leclerc out, or take Leclerc
No,
out.
I think what's gonna happen is if he's gonna get over aggressive with Hamilton, and he's just gonna come out the worst of the battle. That's
Right.
what I'm gonna go with a repeat of last season's dramatic, dramatic kind of battles that they had, and they're gonna take each other. They're gonna tangle, and one of them's not gonna finish, and I'm gonna go with Verstappen not finishing.
Yeah, I can see
That's
that
just
happening.
hopeful. That's just me kind of putting my script head on for Drive to Survive new season.
Yeah.
That's all this is.
No, I can see.
The comeback.
I can see that. I understand what you're saying as well. I think there will be
Kravitz
drama.
will be drooling all over this.
Yeah. There will be drama at Abu Dhabi. I agree with you, and that's the reason my flop is Charles Leclerc. I think he's going to get he's going to crash. It'll be a DNF. I think he's going to get overexcited. The pressure is going to mount, and he's going to do something stupid.
Do you think he's going to crash by himself, or he's going to tangle with someone?
I think he's going to tussle with someone. I don't quite know who. It depends on where he finishes in qualifying, but I think he's going to tussle with someone. He's going to get overexcited and try to, because you could see it today. You could see it the way he was doing the radio call. He was getting a bit emotional. He's going to take that into next week.
That's it. And there's no there's one race left, so the two lads have to go guns blazing. All right, Isidro. Oh, come on! We've had a great run here. Don't let us down.
Sainz, DNF.
Okay. Yeah, keeping big names here on the DNF front. Are you going to lock in your DNF with a particular reason, or are you just going to go DNF?
No, just DNF.
Oh,
I could see Pierre Gasly just crash into Sainz just so he get 2 penalty points and start with 0.
You're going on holiday
for next year, but.
So
no.
you don't want to lock in a crash like me and Scotty did. You don't want to be brave on this
crash. It'll be just mechanical failure, most likely.
Okay.
All right. Interesting.
All right. My surprise for the final time of 2022.
Oh Lord! And probably his final race.
That is probably his final race. Mick Schumacher.
Why break it? You like Max, you've won already. It doesn't matter what you do.
Oh yeah. All right. So Schumacher, it's the obvious inside the top 10.
Okay.
All right.
You've just doomed Mick Schumacher now to not having a career. Okay. So my surprise this week, and I think he's been somewhat underrated this season. He's done better, and I think just because of who he is, he hasn't been getting the plaudits. I think inside the top 10 next week is going to be Lance Stroll. What do you think?
I give you that. I can see it happening. I mean, it can go either way. I mean, it can go either that Aston Martin, like it's either tussling in the midfield, or it's rock bottom at the back like a Minardi. Yeah. There's no middle ground with it.
You just never know. But I think he's been doing really well, and he hasn't been getting the plaudits for it. I think I wrote him off as well at the start of the season. I was like, this guy cannot drive, but he's actually done really well. Season.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
All right, Isidro.
Wait. What do you want Lance Stroll? Top 10? Is that?
Top 10.
Is that really a surprise? I mean,
You're on it
Lance-
today.
You don't think Lance Stroll in the top 10 is a surprise?
no, he gets tens. He gets top 10 quite easily. So let's just check the math here.
Oh my God, he's all over
Well,
you.
he was P15 in was it Mexico?
He's not giving the place back.
Hold on. I'll go back with you. Mexico, he was P15. He was
Okay. Yeah, I can give you. Okay.
didn't finish the
I'll-
race before that.
I will allow it.
Got some quick
Yeah,
ass
he's
Google in
not,
there.
yeah.
He's not that consistent.
No, he's not at all. But some
I
good
mean, he
driving
did
from
fin-
him.
He did. Now, look, if I was doing devil's advocate here,
Oh, here we go. Is this payback?
because I got shafted. I mean, he did finish P10 today.
I was
And,
hoping you
we-
wouldn't notice that.
We've always kind of gone, is it really going to be a surprise if they finished inside the top 10? Usually what we would do at that scenario is ask for a position to be called. That's what we did with Bottas. Do you remember when Bottas was kind of finishing in the top 10 for a while and we kind of went, oh, is it really a surprise, Bottas top 10? And we asked for a position to be called.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you a position. P10.
All right. Well,
It's inside the top 10. You want to go rules? Let's go rules. P10.
Absolute ass. I was about to drop a C-bomb there and I was like, oh, let's not. All right. Stroll, P10 finish. All right. Well, all right, Isidro, the last call of 2022.
Alonso P5.
Ooh, nailed it straight off. Lovely confidence.
Alonso, P5 finish. Really?
Yeah, he wants to get out of that Alpine and just show the finger to Ocon.
So you think he just wants to finish the race as quick as possible?
Yeah, because you nailed the position, that's fair. He did finish P5 today. Although Stroll finished P10 today, and I called Stroll P10 next week. So, I mean, I'm not going to go in too hard on you, but, you know.
Well, it's heating up, folks. It's going to be one of you next season or next week. So, well, look, that's it for this week's episode. My God, this was a long one. I think we're going to be having. If anyone's stuck with us till the end, fair play to you. But that's it for this week's episode. We'll be back next week for the season finale in Abu Dhabi. With Mercedes find some pace, we could see a bit of drama and something for the Drive to Survive fans to look forward to. As always, though, if you want to get in touch, you can reach us at feedback@LateNightRaceReview.com. Drop a comment below on YouTube and stalk us in our DMs on Instagram and Twitter. But until next week,